In a world where social media thrives on drama and quick thrills, there's a quiet shift happening. More and more younger men are stepping away from chaos and choosing something rare, wisdom. They're trading emotional games for growth, choosing peace over conflict, and seeking partners who value maturity over theatrics. And the best part, the proof is everywhere if you know where to look. Younger men are recognizing that emotional stability is more valuable than excitement fueled by conflict, and this realization is not coming from random luck, but from experiences that have shown them the toll chaos can take on their mental health and overall happiness. They have seen how moments of thrill and intensity might feel good in the heat of the moment, but always come with an aftermath of confusion, regret, and emotional fatigue, and instead of being drawn to unpredictable highs and lows, they are now starting to crave a steady sense of safety in their relationships and personal lives. They are understanding that stability is not about living a dull life, but about creating a consistent space where trust can grow, where they do not have to constantly guess the other person's mood or intentions, and where they can focus on building rather than fixing over and over again. This shift is teaching them that drama often disguises itself as passion, but it burns people out faster than it excites them. And they are realizing that there is a deeper satisfaction in calmness than there ever was in chaos. This choice for stability comes from watching how conflict can dominate entire days, weeks, or even months, leaving no energy for the things that truly matter, like career goals, personal growth, or genuine connection. And they have noticed that relationships built on constant arguments or emotional games tend to steal attention away from dreams and ambitions, leaving people stuck in a cycle of damage control instead of forward movement. When they choose stability, they are reclaiming that focus and redirecting their time and energy into things that give back rather than drain them. And they are beginning to notice that with stability, there is space to grow as a person, to discover who they are without the noise of constant conflict, and to develop skills that help them succeed in all areas of life, whether it's patience, better communication, or the ability to think long term. They are understanding that this is where true confidence comes from, not from winning arguments, but from knowing you don't have to fight them in the first place. Another reason they are valuing emotional stability is because they are seeing the health impact of ongoing drama. Whether it's the anxiety that comes from never knowing when the next fight will happen, or the way stress starts to affect sleep focus and physical health, they are realizing that peace of mind directly influences overall well-being, and they are no longer willing to trade that for temporary thrills. They have started to understand that mental clarity allows them to make better decisions, build healthier relationships, and stay consistent in their goals instead of being thrown off track every time an emotional storm rolls through. And in that understanding, they are learning to say no to toxic cycles, even if it means walking away from something that once felt exciting, because they know that excitement without stability is just chaos in disguise. They are also noticing that emotional stability attracts better people into their lives because, like when you are grounded and calm, you naturally draw in those who share the same values and energy, and this creates a support system that builds you up instead of tearing you down. They are recognizing that the relationships formed in this space are stronger, more trusting, and more resilient because they are built on respect rather than control or fear. And this shift is not just about romantic relationships, it's about friendships, business partnerships, and even family dynamics as they begin to prioritize peace. They see how every area of their life improves, from the quality of conversations they have to the way they handle challenges without falling apart under pressure. They are beginning to understand that stability allows for deeper emotional intimacy, because you cannot truly open up to someone if you are constantly bracing for the next explosion. When trust is consistent and respect is mutual, vulnerability feels safe. And in that safety, deeper bonds form the type of bonds that last through both good times and bad without crumbling under stress. They are realizing that the people who bring stability into their lives are the ones worth keeping close because they make growth possible and provide an environment where both people can flourish without fear of manipulation, judgment, or unnecessary conflict. This growing appreciation for stability over conflict is also changing the way younger men view themselves and their role in relationships. Instead of thinking they need to constantly prove themselves through confrontation or dominance, they are starting to see that real strength is in restraint, in being able to walk away from provocation and maintain composure no matter the situation. They are finding pride in being the person who brings calm to the room rather than chaos, and they are beginning to see how this earns respect in ways that drama never could. And by choosing to be the steady presence they wish they had earlier in life, they are rewriting the definition of what it means to be strong. Finally, they are realizing that life is too short to waste in spaces that feel unstable and unsafe. They are valuing their time more carefully, understanding that every moment spent in unnecessary conflict is a moment they cannot get back, and they are learning that the peace they choose now will compound into a better future, one where they can build without the constant risk of it all being torn down by emotional turbulence. And with this awareness, they are stepping into a different kind of adulthood, one that is marked not by how much chaos they can survive, but by how much stability they can create for themselves and the people they care about. They are choosing self-awareness and clear communication over mind games because they are beginning to see how much time, energy, and trust is lost when conversations are built on manipulation, guessing, or hidden intentions. They have realized that trying to read between the lines all the time leads to misunderstandings, resentment, and unnecessary conflict, and they are no longer interested in relationships where the truth is buried under layers of emotional tricks. Instead, they are leaning into being upfront about what they feel, what they want, and what they expect, because they know clarity creates respect and reduces tension. They are seeing that being honest about your needs is not weakness, but strength, because it invites the other person to be honest too. And that kind of openness creates a partnership where both people can feel safe and understood without having to play constant mental chess just to get to the truth. Self-awareness is becoming a priority because they are realizing that without understanding themselves, they cannot expect to understand or connect deeply with anyone else. They are taking the time to recognize their triggers, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how their past experiences influence the way they respond to situations. They are learning that the more they know about themselves, the easier it is to communicate effectively and avoid unnecessary arguments. They are understanding that when you can explain your own feelings clearly, you are less likely to let them explode in ways that damage relationships. And they are seeing that self-awareness allows them to step back and evaluate instead of reacting out of pure impulse. This is making them better at resolving conflict because they can approach situations with a balanced mind instead of adding fuel to the fire. Clear communication is replacing the old cycle of subtle digs, silent treatments, and emotional traps. They have seen how much harm is caused when people avoid saying what they truly mean or when they try to provoke a reaction instead of expressing themselves directly, and they are now committed to breaking that pattern because they understand that clarity saves relationships from unnecessary damage. They are learning that it's not just about speaking clearly, but also about listening with the intention to understand instead of just waiting to respond. And this change is building trust faster because the people around them know they will get the truth. Instead of mixed signals, they are realizing that when you communicate openly, you create a safe space for others to do the same, and that safety is worth far more than any temporary advantage gained from playing games. They are also seeing that mind games are exhausting and unsustainable because sooner or later the truth comes out, and when it does, it leaves behind a trail of broken trust and regret. They are no longer interested in keeping up appearances or manipulating situations to get their way because they know the damage it causes is not worth it. They have experienced how drama-filled communication drains emotional energy, and they are choosing instead to keep things straightforward and respectful. They are seeing that with clear communication, there is no need to constantly decode messages or question motives, which frees up mental space to focus on the good parts of a relationship rather than always preparing for the next conflict. This shift towards self-awareness and directness is also making them more confident in their decisions because they are not acting out of fear or uncertainty. They are learning to express boundaries early instead of letting resentment build, and to ask for clarity when something feels unclear rather than making assumptions. They are noticing that this approach prevents small misunderstandings from snowballing into big problems and allows relationships to grow on a foundation of mutual respect rather than constant suspicion. They are finding that even when conversations are uncomfortable, they lead to more peace in the long run because everything is out in the open. By rejecting mind games, they are surrounding themselves with people who value truth over performance, and that is changing the quality of their relationships. They are spending more time with those who match their level of honesty and emotional maturity, and less time with those who thrive on confusion and manipulation. They are realizing that life feels lighter when you are not constantly questioning what someone really means, and that kind of lightness makes room for deeper connection, laughter, and real intimacy. They are no longer fooled by the thrill of unpredictability because they see now that it comes with a heavy cost, and they are unwilling to pay that price anymore. Through choosing self-awareness and clear communication, they are building a different kind of life, one where they do not have to hide their feelings or play roles to be accepted. They are creating connections where trust is not just a word, but a daily practice reinforced by honesty and consistency. They are starting to see that the relationships worth keeping are the ones where you do not have to guess where you stand and where you can be your authentic self without fear of manipulation or punishment. And in making this choice, they are setting a standard that will shape every interaction they have going forward. They are valuing personal growth and long-term happiness over temporary highs because they are starting to understand that the thrill of quick pleasures fades far faster than the satisfaction of building something meaningful. They have experienced how chasing instant gratification, whether in relationships, habits, or lifestyle choices, often leaves them feeling empty once the excitement wears off. And they are realizing that what truly lasts comes from consistent effort and intentional choices. They are learning that personal growth is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing process that requires patience, self-discipline, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths about themselves. They are no longer as tempted by the rush of short-term validation because they know it can distract them from the deeper work that leads to a stronger sense of self and a more fulfilling life. They are finding value in developing skills, improving their mindset, and creating a vision for the future that is worth committing to, even if it means sacrificing quick wins along the way. This change in mindset is reshaping the way they spend their time and energy. They are becoming more selective about the situations they put themselves in and the people they keep around them, because they understand that both can either help them grow or hold them back. They are realizing that long-term happiness is built in environments where encouragement is stronger than criticism and where challenges are met with support instead of sabotage. They are focusing on relationships and activities that align with their values and contribute to their long-term goals rather than pulling them into cycles that feel exciting in the moment but leave them drained afterward. They are starting to see that consistency beats intensity when it comes to building the kind of life they want, because steady progress creates a foundation that can handle challenges without falling apart. They are also noticing that personal growth often requires letting go of habits and mindsets that once felt comfortable but no longer serve them. And this is not always easy because change often comes with discomfort and uncertainty, but they are learning to embrace that discomfort as proof that they are moving forward. They are finding that the satisfaction of overcoming personal challenges far outweighs the fleeting rush of distractions that offer no real progress. They are becoming more intentional about how they spend their days, knowing that each small step compounds over time into big results. They are replacing impulsive decisions with thoughtful actions, and they are beginning to trust the process even when it takes longer than they hoped, because they know the rewards will be worth it. This shift toward growth and long-term fulfillment is helping them develop a stronger sense of resilience because they are no longer thrown off course. Every time life gets hard, they have stopped relying on temporary escapes to cope with challenges and are instead learning to face problems directly and find solutions. They are seeing that real happiness comes from the confidence of knowing you can handle life's ups and downs without needing to constantly chase the next distraction. They are building a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and that perspective is making them stronger and more capable in every area of their lives. They are discovering that personal growth is deeply tied to self-respect because every time they choose the harder but better path, they are proving to themselves that they are worth the effort. They are learning to take pride in the progress they make, even if it is not visible to others, and they are starting to measure success by how far they have come rather than by how quickly they got there. They are realizing that a life built on personal growth is far more stable and satisfying than one built on constant highs and lows because it gives them a sense of direction and purpose that temporary pleasures simply cannot match. They are finding that when they focus on becoming better every day, they attract better opportunities and better people into their lives. They are also learning that long-term happiness is not about avoiding challenges, but about creating a life where challenges do not define them. They are seeking out experiences that help them grow instead of avoiding the discomfort that growth sometimes requires. They are recognizing that the best moments in life often come after periods of struggle and hard work, and this is making them less afraid of putting in the effort. They are choosing goals that excite them in the long run rather than settling for whatever feels good in the moment, and they are starting to find joy in the journey instead of only in the destination because they see how much strength they gain along the way. By putting personal growth and long-term happiness first, they are setting themselves apart in a world that constantly pushes for quick results and instant gratification. They are learning to value the slow build over the quick fix, the deep connection over the casual thrill, and the steady progress over the dramatic leap. They are building lives that reflect who they want to become instead of just reacting to what feels good right now. And in making these choices, they are creating a future that is rooted in stability, purpose, and genuine fulfillment. They are surrounding themselves with people who inspire rather than drain them because they have started to notice how deeply the company they keep affects their mindset, motivation, and overall direction in life. They are realizing that it is not just about avoiding toxic relationships, but about actively seeking out those who challenge them to grow and support them in becoming their best selves. They have seen how spending too much time with people who complain, constantly gossip, or focus on negativity can slowly chip away at their own energy and ambition, and they are no longer willing to let that happen. They are learning that the right people bring a sense of encouragement and accountability that makes progress easier and more fulfilling, and they are choosing friends, mentors, and partners who not only celebrate their wins, but also push them to aim higher when they are tempted to settle. They are discovering that being around inspiring people creates an environment where success feels possible and growth feels natural, and this environment is something they now protect. They are beginning to understand that relationships are an exchange of energy, and that being around people who drain them emotionally, mentally, or physically leaves little room for their own development. They are learning to identify patterns in their interactions and notice who leaves them, feeling lighter, more motivated, and more focused, compared to those who leave them feeling exhausted, insecure, or distracted. They are choosing to invest their time in the former group because they recognize that inspiration is contagious and that being around ambitious, kind, and growth-minded people raises their own standards without them even realizing it. They have started to value conversations that spark ideas rather than arguments, and time spent on activities that feed their purpose instead of habits that keep them stagnant. They are treating their inner circle like a reflection of where they want to go, and they are becoming intentional about curating it. They are also learning that surrounding themselves with inspiring people does not mean being around perfection, but rather being around those who are genuine about their journey and who handle challenges with resilience instead of defeat. They are noticing how motivating it is to see others strive for their goals, even when it is hard, because it reminds them that setbacks are part of the process and not a reason to quit. They are finding that people who inspire them tend to share openly about their own lessons and failures, which makes success feel more attainable and personal. They are starting to understand that inspiration often comes from shared experiences and that encouragement means more when it comes from someone who has faced their own battles and kept moving forward. This shift is also teaching them the importance of reciprocity in relationships because they know that if they want to be around inspiring people, they must also bring value to those relationships. They are making the effort to be supportive, to celebrate others, and to be a source of motivation themselves. They are realizing that inspiration flows both ways and that the most rewarding connections are the ones where both people grow together. They are learning to listen more, to understand rather than just to reply, and to offer help without expecting something in return, because they know that this is how trust and respect are built over time. They are beginning to see that the people they surround themselves with are not just a backdrop to their life, but an active influence on their success, happiness, and mindset. They are choosing to be intentional about their environments, whether it is in person or online. They are unfollowing voices that encourage comparison or negativity and replacing them with those that share wisdom, positivity, and growth-focused perspectives. They are seeking out spaces where conversations are about possibilities instead of problems, and where actions match the words people speak. They are finding mentors who challenge them to think bigger and peers who share similar values and work ethic, because they understand that growth rarely happens in isolation. They are putting themselves in rooms where they are not the most knowledgeable person, because they know that is where they will learn the most and be inspired to level up. They are also discovering that being around inspiring people creates a natural filter for opportunities, because the more they connect with those who are driven and aligned with their values, the more they are introduced to ideas and possibilities that fit the life they want to build. They are noticing that it is easier to stay focused on their own goals when they are surrounded by people who are chasing theirs, because it normalizes progress and consistency instead of complacency. They are realizing that inspiration is not just about motivation in the moment, but about creating a lifestyle where growth becomes part of the daily routine and where accountability is built into the relationships they keep. By making this choice, they are protecting their energy and directing it toward things that actually matter. They are learning that life becomes lighter, more productive, and more fulfilling when the people around them want to see them succeed and are willing to walk alongside them in that journey. They are finding that these connections not only fuel their ambitions, but also provide emotional support during challenges and clarity during moments of doubt. And this makes them more confident in their path because they know they are not walking it alone. They are finding that wisdom creates deeper, healthier relationships than drama ever could because they have begun to experience how trust, respect, and understanding build connections that last while drama only creates tension and instability. They are learning that relationships rooted in wisdom allow for honest conversations without fear of judgment and for differences to be addressed without turning them into battles. They are realizing that when both people approach each other with patience and empathy, it becomes easier to navigate challenges without breaking the bond they have worked to build. They are seeing that wisdom teaches you to listen, not just to the words, but to the intent behind them, to give space when emotions run high, and to address issues with solutions instead of accusations. They are understanding that this approach strengthens the foundation of a relationship because it replaces the cycle of blame and defense with one of problem solving and mutual growth. And in that shift, they are finding a level of closeness that drama never delivers. They are also beginning to notice that wisdom makes room for vulnerability, which is something drama tends to shut down, because when the focus is on winning an argument or proving a point, there is little space for real openness. They are learning that vulnerability thrives in an environment of trust, and that wisdom helps create that environment by encouraging patience, honesty, and compassion. They are seeing that the more they and their partner or friend can share openly without fear of being attacked, the stronger the bond becomes and the more resilient it is in the face of difficulties. They are recognizing that this kind of connection is rare in a world that often values quick emotional reactions over thoughtful responses. And they are intentionally choosing it because they know it leads to relationships that feel safe and supportive rather than volatile and draining. They are realizing that drama thrives on misunderstanding, while wisdom thrives on clarity, and they are making the conscious decision to prioritize clear communication over assumptions and emotional games. They have seen how easy it is for small issues to spiral into big problems when clarity is missing, and how much easier it is to maintain harmony when both sides are willing to speak directly and listen fully. They are learning that wisdom means not only understanding your own perspective, but also making the effort to truly understand the other person's, and that this mutual effort turns potential conflicts into opportunities for connection rather than division. They are starting to value the long-term peace that comes from these choices more than the temporary satisfaction of being right in the moment. They are also discovering that wisdom builds emotional security in relationships, because when both people know they will be treated with respect even during disagreements, they feel more confident being their authentic selves. They are seeing that this kind of security allows relationships to flourish because it removes the fear of sudden breakdowns caused by heated reactions or unresolved resentments. They are learning that drama often leaves people walking on eggshells, unsure when the next explosion will happen, while wisdom replaces that fear with stability and trust. They are recognizing that emotional security